Fernando Alonso is quite the driver in F1, and it's amazing that he is still racing today, or at least at the time of the writing of this video. And in his Eon Spain career, he had quite a few teammates, one literally being the best F1 driver, best racing driver ever, and one being about as fast as, well, your typical Minardi pay driver. But one teammate that seems just average, but had quite the rollercoaster career of extreme ups and extreme downs, and even a few wins sprinkled in between. That driver I am talking about is Giancarlo Fisichella. This is the rollercoaster career of Giancarlo Fisichella. Before we start, if you like the video, consider liking. If you like the channel, consider subscribing. Now, back to the video. Fisichella was born in Rome, Italy, in 1973, and along with pretty much every F1 driver since the Middle Ages, Fisichella started out his racing career in karting in the late 80s and early 90s, in which he won quite a few karting championships and in his native Italy, and even raced in a few international championships, getting second in the European Formula K Championship and the World Cup Formula Super A Championship in 1991 and 1993, respectively. Fisichella graduated car racing in 1992 with Italian Formula 3 Championship, getting one win his first year, then got 11 points to 8th in the Drivers' Championship. The following year, in 1993, Fisichella stayed in the series and was more consistent, gaining 2 wins and 36 points to 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship that season. In 1994, Fisichella stayed in the Italian Formula 3 Championship for his 3rd year and got a spectacular 11 wins that season to win the championship. That year, Fisichella also raced in the British Formula 3 Championship for 1 round and at the Masters of Formula 3 at Zandvoort, in which he got 9th. For 1995, Fisichella participated in touring car racing and in the International Touring Car and DTM Championships with the Alfa Romeo factoring teams, gained no wins and only a few podiums, 2 subpar championship positions in both of the series that year. In 1996, Fisichella moved up to Formula 1, racing for the backmarker team Minardi for the first half of the season, minus the Brazilian and Argentinian rounds, in which he had a traditional Minardi season with 5 retirements and 3 non-points finishes to 0 points at the end of the season. For 1997, Fisichella moved to the Jordan team, for which he had tested with previously, in which he partnered fellow rookie Ralf Schumacher. He started off his first full-time season with a retirement in Australia, non-points 8th place finish in Brazil, and then got another retirement in Argentina. He scored the first points of his career with 4th place in San Marino, nearly missing out on a podium. Then got another points finish next race in 6th place, and got 9th place in Spain, scoring no points. In Canada, Fisichella spectacularly scored a podium with a 3rd place finish behind championship contenders Michael Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve. 2 non-points finishes followed in France and Britain. Before the German Grand Prix, Fisichella qualified on the front row behind Gerhard Berger, in which he led the race until in the last few laps he ran into the debris of a blown tire, which caused Berger to pass him, and these debris also caused Fisichella's car to break down, and he got an 11th place finish. A retirement in the Hungarian Grand Prix followed, and at the Belgian Grand Prix, Fisichella got a 3rd place finish due to a good tire call, took on intermediates instead of wets like other drivers, and then was promoted to 2nd place as a 2nd place finisher. Mika Hakkinen was disqualified. 2 almost podium finishes followed, with 2 4th places in Italy and Austria. And then Fisichella finished the season with a retirement and 2 non-points finishes. Fisichella's first full-time season was quite a good one for being in a mid-hold team, which he got 2 podiums and 20 points that year to 8th in the championship, and he almost won the German Grand Prix before Barrichello's tire went full. Fisichella beat his teammate Ralf Schumacher, who only got 11 points and 1 podium to 11th place in the championship. For 1998, Fisichella signed to the Benetton team, replacing John Alesi, where he partnered Alex Verts, who I also made a video on that you should totally watch. Fisichella retired from the opening race of the season at the Australian Grand Prix, and then he scored the first points of the season in Brazil. A non-point 7th place in Argentina then followed, before Fisichella retired for the San Marino Grand Prix due to a spin, and the Spanish Grand Prix due to him channeling his inner Senna Japan 1991 and wiping out Eddie Irving while trying to overtake him. In the Monaco Grand Prix, Fisichella got a 2nd place finish behind the McLaren of Mika Hakkinen, and then he followed up this good result with another 2nd place next race at the Canadian Grand Prix, in which he was leading on a late race start but Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher attempted to overtake him. Schumacher eventually succeeded, going on to win, while Fisichella finished 9th in France, scoring no points, and he then got 5th in the British Grand Prix. At the Austrian Grand Prix, Fisichella got his first ever pole position, but retired from the race due to a collision with the Sauber of Jean Alesi. A few non-stellar races followed, with a retirement in 2-point finishes, before Fisichella's final points of the season came at the penultimate race at the Nürburgring. Fisichella capped off his season with an 8th place finish in Japan, gaining no points. Fisichella's 1998 season was worse than his last one statistically, and Fisichella was more inconsistent, but he still got 2 second-place finishes and had moved teams, so these performance drops can be forgiven, as he still had a solid season in which he outperformed his machinery to finish 9th in the Drivers' Championship. For 1999, Fisichella stayed in the seat at Benetton, and he partnered Alex Wurz, who also kept his seat. Fisichella almost got a podium, in which he finished 4th at the opening race of the season in Australia, and retired from the next race in Brazil. Fisichella then got 2 consecutive points finishes in San Marino and Monaco with 2 5th places. He got a non-point finish with 9th place at the Spanish Grand Prix. At the Canadian Grand Prix, Fisichella started 7th, and was running 3rd near the end of the race when 2nd place Heinz-Harald Frenschen's brake failed, and Fisichella ended up gaining 2nd place, his 5th podium in F1. This was, however, Fisichella's final point finish of the year. In the French Grand Prix, Fisichella retired due to spinning off the track. In Britain and Austria, Fisichella got 2 non-point finishes, with 7th and 12th respectively. In Germany, Fisichella retired due to a suspension failure, and in Hungary, he retired due to engine issues. He got a non-point finish of 11th in the Belgian Grand Prix, and then retired from the Italian and European Grand Prix, the former of which he spun off, and the latter of which he was leading the race in the final portions, but then spun off from the lead and retired. Fisichella then capped off the season with 2 non-point finishes, with 11th in Malaysia and 14th in Japan. Fisichella's 1999 season was worse and more inconsistent than his last one. He got 13 points, 10 more to his teammate, to 9th in the championship, and he only scored 1 podium to last year's 2, and got less points than his last season. For 2000, Fisichella stayed with Benetton, partnering Alexander Wurz for a 3rd season, in which he started off the season strong, with him scoring points at the opening race of the season in Australia with 4th. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Fisichella survived a high attrition race, with almost half the drivers retiring, to get a podium finish in 2nd. He got 3 non-point finishes in San Marino, Britain, and Spain, before more points came at the European Grand Prix with 5th. In Monaco, Fisichella was running 4th towards the end of the race, before Heinz-Harald Frenschen lost the pension due to hitting the wall at Sandvoort, which promoted Fisichella to 3rd, which is where he finished, getting another podium. In Canada, Fisichella finished behind Ferrari teammates Rubens Barrichello and Michael Schumacher to 3rd place, his 4th consecutive podium at the Canadian Grand Prix. This good form, however, didn't carry on, as Fisichella didn't score any more points beyond that point. At the French Grand Prix, Fisichella got a non-points 9th place finish. In Austria, he retired due to being caught up in a collision with Jarno Trulli and Michael Schumacher. At the German Grand Prix, Fisichella qualified 3rd, but then retired after being hit by Michael Schumacher and being sent to the barriers, just like the previous race. In Hungary, Fisichella retired due to brake issues, and in Belgium, he retired due to an electrical fault. Fisichella managed to finish a race in Italy, in which he got a non-point 11th place finish. In the United States, he retired due to an engine fault, and he capped off the season with 2 non-points finishes in Japan with 14th, and in Malaysia with 9th. Fisichella's 2000 season was okay, with him finishing 6th in the Drivers' Championship, 3 places higher than his previous year. He got 3 podiums and was performing much better than his teammate Wurz that year. However, he suffered from reliability faults and crashes, especially towards the end of the year, and that no doubt denied him a few points and maybe even a podium. For 2001, Fisichella stayed with Benetton, but had Jenson Button for his teammate, who had replaced Alex Wurz. Renault had bought the team the previous year, and so the team used Renault engines. These engines were not very good, however, as Fisichella started off the season with a 13th place finish in Australia. He retired the next race in Malaysia due to a fuel issue. He then got his first point of the year in Brazil with a 6th place finish. Fisichella retired in San Marino with an engine problem, and then he got 14th place non-points finish in Spain. He retired from the Austrian Grand Prix due to engine trouble, and retired from the Monaco Grand Prix with a broken gearbox. At the Canadian Grand Prix, Fisichella retired due to hitting his teammate, who swerved to avoid the arrows of Enrique Minardi. He got 3 unremarkable points finishes at the Nürburgring, France, and Berlin, with 2 11th place finishes and a 13th place finish. At the next race in Belgium, upgrades to the car meant that Fisichella got points with 4th place, with his teammate 1 place behind, a double points finish for the team. His luck didn't continue next race at the Hungarian Grand Prix, however, where he retired due to the engine going full Ferrari 2022. At the Belgian Grand Prix, Fisichella was running 2nd in the final stages of the race, but was passed by Coulthard and went on to finish 3rd. Quite a good finish compared to where the car was at the beginning of the year. In Italy, Fisichella finished 10th. In USA, he finished 8th. And in the final round of the season, Fisichella's gearbox broke, but as he had completed over 90% of the race distance, he was classified in 17th. Overall, Fisichella's 2001 season wasn't that good as his previous years, but knowing that the car was pretty dreadful, especially at the beginning of the year, it shows Fisichella's skill that he got many points, finishes, and even a podium. He comprehensively beat his teammate Jensen Button, who only got 2 points compared to Fisichella's 13. Despite this, Benetton, now called Renault for the 2002 season, kept Button and dropped Fisichella for fellow Italian Jarno Trulli. Fisichella returned to the Jordan team for the 2002 season, in which in the opening race of the season in Australia, he retired due to being caught up in a massive first lap accident in which the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello was launched up over the top of his teammate Michael Schumacher. At the Malaysian Grand Prix, Fisichella got no points, with a finish of 13th. In Brazil, San Marino, and Spain, Fisichella retired due to an engine failure and 2 hydraulics failures. He then got 3 consecutive points finished in Austria, with 5th, Monaco, with 5th, and Canada, with 5th. At the European Grand Prix, Fisichella retired due to bodywork damage being caused by his car bouncing like a 2022 Mercedes. At the British Grand Prix, he got a non-points finish with 7th. At the French Grand Prix, Fisichella did not start, as he had a heavy crash in qualifying. In Germany, he retired due to engine troubles. Next race in Hungary, Fisichella scored his last points of the season with 5th. In the Belgian Grand Prix, he retired due to engine problems, and then got 2 non-points finishes in Italy and US, with 7th and 8th. He then retired from the last race in Japan, with more engine issues. Fisichella's 2002 season was okay for a team switch, and he comfortably beat his teammate, rookie Takuma Sato. Fisichella got 7 points to his teammates' 2, and would have managed many more if the engine hadn't blown up so much. In 2003, Fisichella stayed to Jordan team, in which Sato had left for BAR, bringing the Honda engines with him, which left Jordan to pick Ford engines that season. He got a non-points 12th place finish in Australia, and retired in Malaysia with electrical issues. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Fisichella had just overtaken McLaren's Kimi Räikkönen in a very attrition-heavy wet race, and then Mark Webber crashed, and his tire flung out onto the track, which the Renault of Fernando Alonso crashed into, scattering debris all over the track. As over 75% of the race distance was completed, it was decided to end the race right there, and the timing screen showed that Fisichella was ahead of Kimi for a bit. This was determined to be a timing error, and Kimi was given the win. However, at the next race, it was determined that Fisichella had been ahead at Kimi at the yellow flag, so he was awarded the win in a ceremony with Kimi handing over the trophy, giving Fisichella his first win, and a spectacular one at that. The next race in San Marino, Fisichella got a non-points 15th place finish. He retired from the Spanish Grand Prix with engine troubles, and from the Austrian Grand Prix with a fuel problem. In Monaco, he finished 10th, he had no points. At the next race in Canada, he retired with gearbox troubles. At the Nürburgring, Fisichella got a non-points 12th place finish. At the French Grand Prix, he retired due to electrical issues. In England, he retired with suspension problems. In the German Grand Prix, Fisichella retired in the last 90% of the race with engine issues, and so was classified 13th. And in Hungary, he also retired due to more engine issues. At the Italian Grand Prix, he got 10th and scored no points. At the US Grand Prix, Fisichella finished 7th to score his first points since his win at Brazil. He capped off the season with a retirement due to running out of fuel. Fisichella's 2003 season was quite the turbulent one, with his spectacular win at the Brazilian Grand Prix being contrasted with quite a few retirements due to factors that were not Fisichella's fault. He comfortably outscored his teammate Ralf Furman that year, but however left the team at the end of the year as he didn't like the reliability record and lack of performance, and went to the Sauber team for 2004, where he partnered the Brazilian Felipe Massa. He started off the season with 4 races where he barely missed out on points, in Australia with 10th, Malaysia and Bahrain with 11th, and 9th in San Marino. He then scored his first points of the season with 7th in Spain. He retired from the Monaco Grand Prix after colliding with David Coulthard at the Nürburgring, and in Canada, he got 2 points finishes with 6th and 4th respectively. In the US, Fisichella survived an attrition-laden race, but then retired from hydraulics issues in the last 90%, where he was classified 9th. In the French Grand Prix, Fisichella finished 12th, and then got points with 6th at the next race in Britain. He got no points with 9th in Germany, and then got a few points finishes in Hungary with 8th, Belgium with 5th, Italy with 8th, China with 7th, and Japan with 8th. Fisichella capped off his season with a 9th in Brazil, just missing on points. Fisichella's 2004 season was pretty solid, with him showing off his consistent form, getting points in nearly half the races that year. He didn't score any podiums, however, but he solidly outperformed his teammate, gaining 22 points to Massa's 12. His strong form influenced Renault boss Flavio Briatore to sign him to partner Fernando Alonso for the 2005 season. Fisichella proved Briatore's expectation right by confidently winning the first race of the season in Australia, his second ever win, but then had a run of bad luck, retiring from the next 3 races in the Malaysian, Bahrain, and San Marino Grand Prix, races that were all won by his teammate. He got 5th in Spain, while his teammate got 2nd place, and at Monaco, he lacked pace and finished 12th. He got 6th at the Nürburgring, while Alonso won, and retired from the Canadian Grand Prix with mechanical problems. At the US Grand Prix, he didn't start, for obvious reasons, just look up 2005 USGP, and then got 6th in France, while his teammate won. He got 2 4th place finishes in Germany and Britain, while his teammate got a win and a podium. He and Alonso lacked pace at the Hungarian Grand Prix, both getting no points. In Turkey, he finished 4th, while Alonso got 2nd. In Italy, Fisichella finished on the podium alongside Alonso, in which he was 1 step lower. He retired from the Belgian Grand Prix after wrecking his car at Eau Rouge, while his teammate finished 2nd. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Fisichella got 5th, while Alonso got 3rd. Fisichella got a 2nd place podium, the penultimate round, in Japan, 1 step above his teammate. For the final race of the year, Fisichella just missed out on the podium to 4th, while his teammate won. Compared to the previous years, Fisichella's 2005 season was his best in terms of pure numbers, but considering how he was in championship-winning machinery, and only got 5th place in the Drivers' Championship, his lack of pace compared to Alonso is evident. He only got 3 podiums compared to his teammates' 15, and pretty much achieved midfield results in a top car. Surprisingly, he stayed at Renault for 2006, as he had helped them win the Constructors' Championship after all. For the first race in 2006 in Bahrain, Fisichella retired with hydraulic problems while his teammate won. In Malaysia, Fisichella took a comfortable win from pole position ahead of his teammate. He didn't continue on that form, however, as he got a 5th place in Australia, getting yelled at by his race engineer in the process while Alonso won, and got 8th in San Marino and 6th at the Nürburgring, while his teammate got 2 second places. Fisichella got a podium at the Spanish Grand Prix, while his teammate won. Fisichella got 6th in Monaco, 4th in Britain, 4th in Germany, while his teammate won all 3 races. Fisichella finished 3rd in the US, gaining a podium ahead of Alonso, who was in 5th. Fisichella then got 2 5th place finishes in France and Germany, and then retired from the Hungarian Grand Prix after being hit by Michael Schumacher. He got 6th and 4th in Turkey and Italy, then got 2 third place podiums in China and Japan, the latter race which Alonso won, and Fisichella capped off his season with 6th place in Brazil. Fisichella's season in 2006 was much like his last one, in which he underperformed drastically under his teammate, who won the championship again, while Fisichella got 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. Fisichella won 1 race and got 4 other podiums, compared to his teammate's 7 wins and 7 other podiums. Despite this lack of speed, Renault kept him for 2007, where he partnered rookie Heikki Kovalainen, who replaced outgoing Alonso, who went to McLaren. Fisichella started the season by finishing the Australian Grand Prix in 5th, scoring points, and it was obvious that race that the Renault car was much worse than the last, and that the car would be fine in the midfield, and not for wins. Fisichella got 6th in Malaysia and 8th in Bahrain, scoring points both times. He scored no points with 9th in Spain and narrowly missed out on a podium in Monaco, where he got 4th place. In Canada, he was disqualified from the race for entering the pit lane while the red light was on. He finished 9th in the US, scoring no points, and then got 2-point finishes, with 6th in France and 8th in Britain. He had a string of non-points finishes before he scored his final points of the year in Japan with 5th. He capped off his season with 11th in China and retired from the final race in Brazil after being hit by Sakon Yamamoto. Fisichella's 2007 season was disappointing. He didn't get a win or even a podium, while his teammate got one second-place podium. He was outscored by rookie teammate Heikki Kovalainen 21 points to 30, and so was dropped for the 2008 season, along with Kovalainen for the return of Alonso and signing of rookie Nelson Piquet Jr. For 2008, Fisichella signed for the new Force India team, which used to be Jordan, so this was Fisichella's 3rd stint at the Jordan team, where he would partner Adrian Sutil. He retired from the Australian Grand Prix, where he was rammed into by Nelson Piquet Jr., and then got a 12th place finish the next 2 races in Malaysia and Bahrain, and then got a season-best non-points 10th place finish in Spain. In Turkey, he retired after a first lap collision with Kamui Kobayashi. The next race in Monaco, he retired with a gearbox fault, and in Canada, he retired due to spinning off the track. He finished 18th in France, and then retired in Britain due to spinning off again. He got 16th place in Germany, 15th place in Hungary, 14th place in Valencia, and 17th place in Belgium, all non-points finishes. He then crashed out of the Italian Grand Prix and finished 14th in Singapore. He retired from the Japanese Grand Prix with a gearbox issue and finished off the season with a 17th place in China and an 18th place in Brazil. Fisichella's season was pretty dreadful, with him racing for a backmarker team, scored no points, and gained a best finish of 10th. He stayed with Force India the next year in 2009, and the new regulations that year could mean the team could advance up the order. Fisichella finished the opening race at the Austrian Grand Prix in 11th. Next race in Malaysia, he spun off due to the very wet conditions, and the race was stopped a few laps later, so Fisichella was qualified as having finished 18th. He then got 14th in China, 15th in Bahrain, 14th in Spain, and then the first top 10 finish of his Force India stint with 9th in Monaco. However, he did not score any points. He retired for the first few laps of the Turkey Grand Prix with a brake issue, then got a 10th place finish in Britain, 11th place finish in Germany. At the Hungarian Grand Prix, during qualifying, Felipe Massa was involved in an accident in which a spring from one of the Braun GP cars hit him in the helmet, which caused him to crash, so he was ruled out of racing for the rest of the season. And in the race, Fisichella finished 14th. At the European Grand Prix, Fisichella finished 12th, 5 places ahead of Massa's replacement, Luca Badoer. For qualifying at the Belgian Grand Prix, Fisichella got a shocking pole position, the first since his Renault days, and he was fighting for the lead with the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen for the duration of this race before Räikkönen jumped ahead of him in the pit stops, winning the race ahead of Fisichella. Fisichella got second, Force India's first podium, and the first podium for the team since Thiago Montero's podium at the 2005 US Grand Prix, and the first real podium for the team since Fisichella's win at them way back in 2003. Felipe Massa's replacement at Ferrari, Luca Badoer, had qualified last and finished last for the second race in a row, and so was dropped by Ferrari, and Fisichella was announced as his replacement, with Antonio Luizzi replacing him at Force India. For Fisichella's first race with Ferrari, he finished 9th, while his teammate Kimi Räikkönen got a podium. This bad finish can be discounted as he had to adapt to a whole new car, and he was doing better than Badoer. The Ferrari car that year showed a lack of pace at the high downforce Singapore circuit, with Kimi finishing 10th and Fisichella finishing 13th. The pace difference between Kimi and Fisichella showed at the Japanese Grand Prix, where Fisichella got 12th, where Kimi finished 4th. In Brazil, Fisichella finished 10th, while Kimi finished 6th. In Abu Dhabi, Ferrari didn't have much pace, which led to Fisichella gaining 16th and Kimi gaining 12th. Fisichella's 2009 season was a rollercoaster one, to say the least. For the first half of the season, at Force India, he had an unremarkable season up until the Belgian Grand Prix, where he got a podium, showing his reputation for shock finishes. He comfortably outscored his teammate Adrian Sutil, whose only points finish that year was also at the Belgian Grand Prix, with a 4th place finish. Fisichella then got what was many drivers' dream, a seat at Ferrari. He underperformed compared to Kimi Räikkönen. However, Ferrari didn't have a particularly consistent car, with it getting podiums and non-points finishes at alternating races, so Fisichella's bad performance compared to Räikkönen can be discounted as a result of bad luck and him having to adapt to a whole new car. Fisichella finished the season 15th in the Drivers' Championship with 8 points, all of them coming from his second place at Belgium. For 2010, Fisichella was a test driver at Ferrari and attempted to get a seat at Sauber or Force India, but that failed. I'm sure the 3 new teams in 2010 came knocking, but I'm also sure that Fisichella didn't particularly like putting around at the back of the grid every race. For his post-F1 career, I will be brief, as this is an F1 channel. For 2010, Fisichella raced for AF Corse in a Ferrari GT2 car in the Le Mans series that year, in which he won his class for a few races, getting second at the end of the year championship. He stayed in the Le Mans series, now racing the GTE category, in which he won the class championship that year. He raced in the World Endurance Championship for AF Corse in a Ferrari and the GTE category for 2012, in which he won his class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans that year, and he also won his class championship. He stayed in the series for 2013, in which he got second in the championship. For 2014, he raced in IMSA in America, still in the GTE class, but he also participated in the 24-hour Le Mans that year, in which he won his class. He remained in IMSA from 2015 to 2017. He then returned to the WEC in 2018, where he is still racing today. Fisichella's career was quite a turbulent one. He performed midfield heroics at Jordan, Benetton, and Force India, getting podiums and even a shock win. He, however, underperformed at top teams, with his performances at Renault and Ferrari not being stellar compared to his teammates. He was a reliable and consistent driver, if not able to perform under the pressure of being in a team fighting for wins week in and week out, but he is still racing and winning to this day in quite a few different series, showing how consistent and adaptable he really is as a racing driver. Anyways, thanks for watching, consider liking, subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.